Good morning. It is about 9:30 on Friday morning. You're getting the ghetto window today because this is actually my most comfortable spot in life out here under my little shelter. So, sorry. Oh, I don't know what it is with the flies today, but damn. Doing Kazikami bombs into my face. Whew. Anywho, I am currently uploading a video that I did last night for today. So I'm thinking, depending on how this one goes, it might be for Saturday. And then depending on how tonight goes, I might do another video after I drop my son off at his dad's. And depending on how that one goes, that one might be for Sunday. But we'll see. We're winging it today. So I kind of wanted to have a more personal chat today, which is actually kind of my original point to doing this channel. But I'm not very good about talking about me, even to myself. So, bear with me. If anybody happens to be watching, bear with me. And I'll probably be making it a point more than usual to look away from the camera because I really don't like to look at myself. Especially when I'm uncomfortable and stuff, you know. So, where to begin? I had the most random thoughts as I was going to bed and through the night last night. And I don't know why, because I don't really think about it that much. But I was going to bed, and for some reason, my parents jumped into my head, which is odd, especially as far as my dad goes, because I really don't think about it much, which sounds horrible, I know, but my dad moved to, I want to say Costa Rica, however you pronounce it, like 10 years ago, give or take. My youngest was like a bebe when he moved. He hit retirement and I guess couldn't afford to stay in the country, so off he tottered. So I haven't seen him in years. And even before that, like my entire life, like he's been kind of a no-show. And a little bit of background, just so that there's context, because, sorry, my hand's shaking, I'm nervous. Just so that there's context, like to be fair, right? My dad had a lot of issues, a lot of mental health issues. Still does, because that stuff doesn't go away. But when my brother and I were kids, of course, we didn't understand, right? He had what was then called manic depression, which is now called bipolar. And that would have been, I think it would have been in the mid 80s that he actually got a diagnosis. And when we were kids, you know, we would have plans to go see him on the weekend and spend the weekend with him and whatever. And often, more often than not, he would call like the day of that he was supposed to pick us up, and 15, 20 minutes before, 10 minutes before he was supposed to be there to get us, he would call my mom and be like, I'm not coming. So we would be sitting out on the porch with our little suitcases and, waiting for Dad to show, and Mom would have to come out and be like, something came up, Dad got called into work, or what. She would make an excuse for him, right? And then, of course, we would be mad at her because she was the one in front of us, not him, right? And he did that our entire lives. Our entire lives. Or he would pick us up and he would take us for fries. And we'd end up sitting in a bar, sharing a basket of fries. And he would sit there and have, 3 or 4 drafts. Or he would take us to his parents' house and pass out on the couch. And his parents were very cold. Well, they were to me. Well, of course they were older, but even when we were kids, they'd, go watch a movie, go downstairs and watch TV, do this, do that, whatever, just go away kind of thing. And so, yeah, time spent with my dad was pretty much a waste. Because there was no time with him, right? And I remember, I think I was I couldn't have been more than 12 one day. And my dad came and picked us up, and, my brother and I are in the back seat, and he's driving, taking us to his place or his parents' place or whatever. And I don't remember how the conversation started, because it wasn't really a conversation. He'd said something about being at the doctor's or talking to his doctors or something, and literally threw a pamphlet at us and said, read this, and if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Whatever. I remember flipping through it, but I mean, at 11 or 12 years old, Jesus Christ. Yeah, read this pamphlet on mental illness, which wasn't really something it wasn't an open discussion. And, anybody who's read a medical pamphlet on anything knows it's written like reading the sun. I have a hard time reading those things now, never mind when I was like 11. And I don't know. I don't know why that popped into my head. But, and now I have no memory at all of my parents living together. Like, I have zero memory of, you know, what day-to-day married life with them was. I have no memory of, you know, being sick and my parents trying to make me feel better, or sitting up with me, or I have no memories of, you know, I used to do a lot of school plays when I was little, like in middle school, and I have no memory of my dad ever coming to any of that. He didn't come to my grade 8 grad. There was none of that. Now, my mom went to all that stuff, of course, and cheered me on and embarrassed the shit out of me and made a really big deal out of those things. You know, took pictures and put them on the damn fridge and whatever. And she would always make these excuses for him, right? And never said a bad word about him, ever. And he never said a bad word about her, ever. In fact, I remember once saying something to my dad, and I called my mom a bitch or something, and oh God. Nope, don't do that again. I have not before nor since seen that look on his face. Like, that was enough. All I needed was that look. It was like, ow, ow, ow. And my mom was the same way. If I put my dad down, you know, she's like, nope. You don't talk that way about your father. You know, not acceptable. But I have no memory of them ever being together. Don't have any, like, family memories. And when I was a teenager, like 13, 14, like I don't remember ever having the thought of maybe one day they'll get back together or whatever. Like, I don't recall ever thinking anything like that, but I do remember thinking, or trying to imagine in my head, what it would be like to have two parents at home. Because I would go to friends' houses and watch their parents interact and be silly with each other, whatever, and I thought, oh, is that what parents do? I don't know. Because growing up, like in the 80s and even the 90s, really, divorced households were rare. Broken homes, right? I hate that term. And I can remember, like, if kids at school somehow found out that, you know, your parents were divorced, oh my God, you got teased endlessly. And I think my brother might have got more of the brunt of that than I did, because, you know, you don't have a dad and all that kind of crap, right? I think that hurts a little boy more than it does a little girl. And then I remember as we got to be adults, the stories that we were told about either side kind of flipped a little bit, right? My mom used to speak so highly of my dad, and when he did come and pick us up, she would always invite him in, and, you know, they'd sit down, you know, offer him a beer and whatever. Like, I can remember my dad coming over to a pool party once. My mom used to throw a big pool party at least once in the summer with all her friends and her work friends and whatever. I remember my dad showing up to one. And then I found out later, like when I got older, that the only reason he had showed was because he had a fight with his wife or girlfriend of the week or whatever. My dad's a bit of a player. And was kind of running away from that problem. Came to our house. But the stories that they had told us as we got older kind of changed, and you know, it was, they never put each other down ever, ever. There were times, maybe 5 years ago was the first time I can remember my mom ever saying, "Your dad is a fucking asshole." But I was like, you know, late 30s, early 40s, so I thought it was funny. It's like, yeah, he kind of is. But when we were younger, never. That never happened, ever. But as you grow up, you learn different things about your parents, right? You realize that, you know, the stuff they were telling you as a kid was generally intended for your protection. And grown-up business has nothing to do with the kids, right? So but it was interesting to hear and then of course, you know, by the time we, the kids, are old enough to sort of hear how they truly feel. It's been so long for them that for me personally, I had to kind of step back and be like, okay, well, this is years of hurt and anger and resentment and all that kind of negative shit. How much of it is accurate now, right? Because those are such intense feelings and trauma. I feel it is a trauma. How much of it is, you know, slightly exaggerated or whatever, right? So kind of take both sides with a grain of salt and realize that somewhere in the middle is the truth, right? But I can remember as a kid, I had a friend, a brother and a sister, whose parents were also divorced. And I mean, it was a bad situation. Like, the dad would come to pick them up and he couldn't even come up the driveway. He had to park on the side of the road and honk. He couldn't even come into the doorway. Like, he couldn't even put a shoe on the driveway. It was crazy. You know, I think my brother and I had it pretty good. My parents at least pretended to like each other. My dad was allowed in the house. I can remember these friends whose dad wasn't allowed to come in to the house. I can remember their mother coming out one day screaming at him, just screaming. And he's trying to get my friends into the car. You know, he's just trying to get his kids and go, right? And I don't know, they must have gotten into it on the phone or something, because there's no way under God that they spoke when he picked them up. Like, that, it just didn't happen. And, you know, they're crying, and my brother and I were walking to the store or something, and he had to pass their house to get to the store, and we're like, oh, like, that's insane. I felt so bad for them. Our neighborhood was a pretty tight neighborhood. Like, you know, it was the 80s. Everybody knew everybody. Your neighbors, you know, you were friends with all the kids on your street, and all the parents knew each other, and I always thought that was really awesome. And then, you know, shit like that happens, and it's like, oh my God, it's like you are the talk of the neighborhood for the next 3 weeks. That was a hard thing to see. But, you know, it's funny, because I mentioned that my dad moved to Costa Rica 10 years ago. And I don't know where his head goes. We used to email all the time, and he would call here, but I don't have his phone number, and he won't give it to me, and I don't get why, but whatever. And when I set up my email account, I originally set it up for my mom, because my mom was going through her throat cancer, and she'd lost the ability to speak, right? So the only way I could talk to her, neither of us, well, we had cell phones, but my mom and I didn't know how to text. Because we're not technology friendly. So I had to set up an email account so that I could email her if we wanted to speak to each other. And so my computer was on like 24/7, with my email pulled up so that I would hear a ding if she sent me an email. So I gave my dad my email address when he moved, and, you know, I have his email address. But I hate emailing. Like, I was doing it, back then I was doing it constantly with my mother, and it just, it was such a pain in the ass. But naturally, because of her situation, it was what it was. Like, he just, but for him, it was like, Jesus Christ, just phone me. Give me your goddamn number. Like, he's weird like that. I don't, you know. And then there was a year where I forgot about his birthday. We hadn't emailed in a while, and he didn't phone, so I hadn't talked to him in probably a couple months. And I just totally forgot about his birthday. And his birthday is around Halloween, which is like my Christmas. And I go hard for Halloween. Plan everything and make costumes. You know, it's a big, Halloween is a big deal here in my house. So I'm getting ready for all that. And he sends me an email because he's a coward. Crying and whining about how my brother and I both didn't email him on his birthday. No, the email said you didn't call me. So I'm an asshole because I get that from my dad. And I emailed him back and I said, well, number one, I don't have your fucking number. So I can't call you. Number two, I have 2 children. And it's Halloween and I was working like 8-9 hours a day. And I'm a single parent. And I said, to the best, in my last count, I had 2 kids, not 3. They're 50 some odd years old. Pull your head out of your ass. Do you really need, come on. It's not my fault you moved to another country and won't give me a phone number and won't even give me an address so that I can mail you a card or something. The hell do you want from me? When you're all done crying and whining and you all growed up, give me a call, and if you want, we'll talk. I don't take guilt trips well at all. I don't do that. And after about 3 weeks of him sulking, he phoned and we chatted and it was fine. And then the same thing happened one year at Father's Day. I forgot about Father's Day. And the thing about these days, like his birthday, he's said all his life, for as long as I've known him, right? I don't care about my birthday. It's just another day. Sun revolved around the earth, So what are you so upset for then? Same thing happened at Father's Day one year. Forgot to email him and say Happy Father's Day. And again, I got a real snotty email. I actually think he was drunk when he emailed it because it really did not make a lick of sense. Either that or he was having an episode. Probably a little bit of both. But it really stroked my fur backwards. Don't try and guilt trip me. So I emailed him back. Immediately. As soon as I got the email. And gave him proper shit. You want to play that dirty game? I'll tell you exactly how I feel in this moment. Which I try not to do, especially when I'm upset, because I can be venomous. I can destroy your entire world in a sentence. And I know that. So I emailed him back and I was like, you know what? You don't even live in this country. You have never met your second grandson. The eldest wouldn't know you if he fell over you. I'm not even 100% sure what you look like anymore. You are the occasional distant voice on a phone or a ping in my Gmail, and that is about it. You are my father by title, and that's it. So what entitles you for me to wish you a happy Father's Day? Just saying. If you'd like to discuss this further, you can call me. Happy Father's Day. And I sent it. And he gave it a few days and he called me back and he was drunk. I'd been at the bar. All the dads talking about their kids. Yeah, well. I guess they spent time with their kids. Just saying. I mean, I have some interesting memories with my dad. I can remember once he took us to Canada's Wonderland. His parents must have given him some money. And it was a good day. I mean, we had fun. I don't remember too much about it because I was younger, and I think I've blocked a lot of my childhood shit. But I can remember going to Canada's Wonderland with him and my brother, and talking my dad into going onto a roller coaster. I live and breathe for roller coasters. I love those things. I did not know at the time that my dad was terrified of them. Because why would you take your kids to Canada's Wonderland? You're not going to go on any roller coasters. And it couldn't have been anything crazy because I was little. So it had to have been in the kid zone, right? I think it used to be called Hanna-Barbera Land. And took him on this roller coaster. And I kid you not, I came off that roller coaster with the hand mark, like my dad squeezing my forearm the entire time. And when we got off that roller coaster, I had his hand imprinted in my forearm. He was absolutely terrified. It makes me so happy. You know, I can remember him trying to give my brother a haircut in one of his girlfriend's backyards one night. And of course he'd been drinking. And I was sitting, dangling my feet in the pool. And I heard the buzzer start, and all of a sudden all I heard was, fuck. I turned around, and the goddamn guard fell off, and my dad took it to the skin. And my brother, who was, I mean, we were in junior high. We were like maybe in grade 6 or 7 or something like that. My brother's like, what? Dad got off and friggin' ran. Brother's a big boy. Shit, we went home, and of course, you know, had to finish it, right? So at the end of our weekend or whatever, my dad takes us home, and my mom comes out. She's looking at my brother. And Dad kind of shoves us over, fucking ran for the car because he was not going to deal with my mother. Mom's like, Donald, what the fuck did you do? That was funny. Never did that again. No more home haircuts. My mom was a lot of fun when we were growing up. She was a hoot. She was one of those dance in the kitchen. Come dance with me. Come dance with me. Boogie in the kitchen. Okay. And then when she had it, I can remember we had a timeshare in Thunder Bay, I think. And it was me and my brother and my mom and one of my mom's good friends. And we'd gone down to the bay, and my mom had decided she was going to learn how to, oh, what's that called? I can't remember what it's called now, but you're standing on like a board and it has a sail and you just kind of stand and sail around. Whatever the hell that's called. She decided she was going to learn how to do that. So, go down to like the beach and she has this instructor. And me and my brother and her friend are just kind of sitting around playing at the beach and whatever. She took a few hours of instruction on how to do this, like on land. And then it was okay, get in the water. Show me what you've learned. I can remember, I think we were standing on a pier or something, or dock or whatever. My mother is in Georgian Bay. This stupid floaty thingy. Life jacket, whatever. You know, try to pull the, you gotta pull the sail up out of the water, and you gotta catch the wind, and you go with the wind, right? And she's falling all over the place. Fucking, she's getting up. God damn it, she's doing this, and we're killing ourselves laughing. And all of a sudden, by hook or by crook, that woman gets that sail up out of that water, and she just goes. But she was going out of the bay. She's heading toward open water. And my mom's friend is like, you know, we're on either side of her, and we're laughing and whatever. She's just about ready to pee. And she looks down at us and she's like, all right, well, say goodbye to your mother, kids. Wave goodbye. And we're all, bye, Mom. She's sailing out to open water. She had to jump off it. She didn't know how to turn it. I guess I didn't get that far in the instruction. She was black and blue from head to toe. It's like, well, I guess you can take that off your bucket list. She never did it again. Say goodbye to your mom, kids. Oh my God. It's so funny. The only other memory I have of that timeshare place, because we've gone it several times. We've made friends with other people at the timeshare. And we were all over, and I think the rooms were joined. It's kind of like a hotel, right? Like I think our rooms were joined. And we were all sitting in one room. It's like my mom. She probably had her girlfriend with her, and this other couple, and their kid or couple of kids, and me and my brother. And of course the kids are running rampant in the room, and it's evening time, so we're supposed to be winding down, and the adults are tying one on in the other room. They're, I don't know, playing euchre or whatever, talking and laughing and having a couple drinks, and we're running around the room screaming and yelling and, you know, jumping off the couches and jumping on the beds and whatever. And they'd finally had enough. They're like, okay. My mom's like, enough, enough, enough. We're going to play a game. We're going to see who can stay quiet and keep their eyes closed the longest. You can't move, can't peek, can't talk, or you lose. And it was something like the winner got to stay up all night or something like that. So we're like, oh, okay. So we all lay down on the floor and they go get pillows. We all lay down on the floor, us kids. Like, okay, play this game. God, we're so stupid. I'm such a nosy bitch. I can hear people, I can hear the adults talking and, walking around and checking on us and whatever. So I had to peek. Like, oh, no, you lose. To bed. Damn it. And the other kid and my brother literally fell asleep on the floor. They put blankets on them, and that's where they stayed for the night. That's how they got us to go to bed that night. The bedtime game. Close your eyes and be quiet so you can do it the longest. Of course I was the first to lose. Of course I was. I can't be still and I can't be quiet. Come on. It was funny. Yeah, I don't know. My parents jumped into my head last night. I often wonder how my dad feels about my mom passing. Because we haven't talked about it, right? Like I don't think I've really talked to anybody about it. I've talked about the night she passed, but briefly, what I can remember of it. But I haven't really gone into it with anybody. But I often wonder how my dad feels, because I get a mixed message from him in regards to her. Like, I know they were high school sweethearts, and I know my mom was madly in love with him. And I know the reason why. Like, I understand the reason that, and she did come to hate him. Absolutely. Hands down. Hated my father. And I know the reason for that is because she loved him so much, and he broke her heart. He betrayed her. I don't think my mom was the same person after they divorced. I think it hit her really, really hard. And my dad used to say, like, when we were kids all the time, how much he loved her and whatever. But he has also said, now that we're adults, that for him it was a physical relationship. And he didn't want to get married, and he didn't want kids. And I mean, he's told me all this. But he felt obligated and all that kind of garbage. That's cowardice. Yeah. Nobody forced you. Nobody walked you down the aisle at gunpoint. You know. Nobody said have kids or else. So. That excuse is weak. But that's how he felt. At least that's how he apparently wants us to think he felt, or wants me to think he felt. I don't know if he's ever told my brother that kind of thing, but but my dad and I have more of a friend relationship than a parent-child relationship. And we talked about that years ago. Like, when I was maybe 17 or 18, and we'd had a huge fight. I mean, we used to fight hardcore. Like, I would throw shit at him. I can remember shoving him into a garage door at my grandparents' house, his parents' house. And, like, there was, like, a dad-shaped indent of him in the door. It was very cartoonish. I thought it was funny after the fact. My grandparents weren't too happy. And they weren't, it wasn't that they were mad at me, they were mad at him, because he made me so angry with the bullshit that he was saying. He used to say some venomous shit. And I got to a point when I got into my older teen years where I was like, nope. Nope. I don't take well to that crap. Get out of here. And he was kind of the opinion that, you know, oh, he had this issue, and you had to watch what you said to him because you would like trigger him and walk on eggshells and all this kind of. I don't believe in that. You're not special. No. You pissed me off. I'm going to tell you pissed me off. I'm going to tell you why you pissed me off. It's up to you to do your part in fixing it. Not going to hold back what I'm feeling to save your feelings. Like, that's not fair. But for years, I would just keep my shit to myself. And then when I finally blew, it ended with, you know, me throwing a chair at him or shoving him into the garage door. My German-Irish temper, I tell you. And with the teenage angst to boot, right? Like, at that time, I hated the world and everybody in it. Like, I hated my mom, I hated my dad, I hated my friends, I hated myself. Like, I just hated everything. I was not a happy girl. And when I got angry, it was bad. And he was usually the source of like he was the one, if anybody can pull that out of me, it's him. Right? Like, to this day. I mean, I go from 0 to 100 anyway. Like, my moods are all over the place. I can be extremely happy and just one thing happens and that's it. My day's fucked for days. But in those instances, I get quiet and I retreat in myself and I go to bed. Not playing anymore, going to bed. But my dad has a way, through email, like it doesn't even have to be face to face, through email, whatever. My dad has the way, just making me lose my ever-loving shit. But you can't pick your parents. Nowadays, when I think about my childhood and growing up, and thinking about how I used to wonder what it would be like to live with both my parents, I think, good goddamn, like, that would have been the most toxic house. Holy shit. My parents would have been miserable. Us kids would have been miserable. Like, the amount of times when we were like preteen into teenage, into adulthood, really, the amount of times my dad would do something stupid and end up on a 72-hour hold. Wow. Like, he would be on all these really experimental drugs at the time, right? Because he was diagnosed in the mid-80s. Doctors didn't know what the hell they were doing. Prescribing these powerful, powerful drugs. And to this day, they always ask about, you know, your alcohol intake and recreational drugs and all that shit when they're doing any prescription, right? But when you're doing like a mood-altering prescription, it is imperative that you be honest and truthful in those things, right? And I'm positive my dad lied about his drinking. Because for years, he self-medicated, right? He would get wicked depressed, and to the point where he would be in physical discomfort over his depression. And sleeping all the time, and not taking care of himself, you know, not adulting. I mean, the man barely worked. After my parents got divorced, he did odd jobs here and there, but he never worked steady, you know. But I'm sure a lot of that had to do with not managing his bipolar and properly. You know, he wouldn't take medication for it, which was the source of, as I got older, the source of a lot of our problems, right? Because he would drink rather than take these pills. Or sometimes he would do both, and that just caused all kinds of really weirdness. And I can't handle that. I don't have patience for, like, I don't understand it. I don't have patience for it. It's scary, the way that he would get, the things that he would say. And I just don't have the patience for this. Like, if you're not going to handle it properly, if you're not going to do everything that you can do to get your shit together, and just adult, like, never mind parenting, if you can't take care of yourself well enough that you can at least hold down a part-time job, right? I can't help you, you know. And he would borrow money, and like, he would borrow money from me. He did it once. Like $20. Like, he needed some cigarettes and probably a beer. And I told him when I loaned it to him, because I was probably 18 or 19, and I was working at a coffee shop full time, and I was paying my mother room and board. And my brother was in college, I believe. So he was out in North Bay. And my dad called me up and asked if I could give him $20 or whatever. He probably told me he needed cigarettes and gas. I think what he needed was cigarettes and beer. And I was like, yeah, but I need it back. Like, you know, I was buying my own food and my own clothes. Like, I was paying my own way. I was just at my mom's, right? But I was paying for everything myself. So he was like, oh, yeah. It took me months, like 2 months, to get $20 back from this man. And it got to the point where he was like, oh, I'll just write you a check. And I was like, bitch. I know your checks ain't good. Cash. Like, you know, you were a businessman at one point. Come on now. Check. Fuck out of here. He finally gave me the 20. He was really, really mad about it. And I said, you know what? Never again. Don't ever ask me again. I can't help you. Like, I don't ask you for money, so don't ask me for money. And that's when I said to him, you know, I think we are best if we keep our relationship on a friend level. Like, not this daddy-daughter bullshit. We're friends, and we'll keep it at that. Like, for years, I never called him Dad, I called him Don. Because I needed that separation. And he got really offended about it at first. He was really, really mad. And I said, look, I can't have a relationship with you as a father, as a daughter to a father. I honestly don't see you that way. You're just a dude that comes to visit every now and again, like a friend. You know? so when I hit 19, yeah, I was about 19 when I said that to him, because I said, you know, you want to get together and go for a beer and chit chat. Like, I'll go for a beer with you. I'm not buying your beer, but I'll go for a beer with you, and we can chit chat. You tell me about your day. I'll tell you about my day, and all that kind of good stuff. But don't do this advising. Like, I don't want no fatherly advice from you. You don't tell me how to live my life. You don't do that. You know, we're friends, and our relationship will be ran as friends with the same boundaries that you have with friends. Don't try to parent me. Like, I don't need a parent anymore. I'm done. I'm grown. I'm cooked. And he eventually saw where I was coming from. And usually we abide by, he abides by that, right? But every now and again, like with this Father's Day shit, and when I missed his birthday, you know, it gets all rare. I forget people's birthdays and shit sometimes. I don't know what to tell you. I keep telling him, get Facebook, man, because all that information will pop up on my Facebook. Lucky if I remember my kids' birthdays, for Christ's sakes. Like, give me a break. And they're in my face all the time. Like, I mean, I guess it's kind of sad, but I mean, it's the friend thing or nothing, right? We just don't get along as father and daughter. It puts too much expectation on him that he just is not capable to do. You know, he's not father material, and not everybody is. I mean, not everybody is meant to have kids. It's, you know, I don't know. That just popped into my head, and you know, I think I don't have, I mean, not that we haven't been depressing enough, but there's really not much nobody to talk to. You know, I mean, I got my kids here, but I don't talk to my kids about my childhood. I mean, they don't care. And I don't know, I kind of feel like it's mine to deal with, but every now and again, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, that's just something that was rolling around in my head, and I felt like I should get it out. I don't know where it came from. But there it is. And we're just about at an hour here, so I'm gonna go putter around the house a little bit. It is beautiful out today. It is so beautiful. But I gotta suck it up and go inside and get some work done inside the house. I've done about all I can do outside, so get the inside done. And I don't even remember what time I started at here. I know we've been about an hour. Oh, it doesn't want to pop up. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's only like 10:30. Okay, so I don't have to do lunches. So yeah, I'm gonna go and get my house sorted and get myself cleaned up, and sitting here in my pajamas again. My greasy ponytail. Whatever. Yeah, so I'll go get some stuff done, and I'll try and vlog later. Maybe I'll see if I can think of some happier stuff to talk about. but I promise you nothing. Anyway, anybody watching, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I'm so proud of you. Leave a sun emoji or something pretty in the comments if you made it to the end here. But be good to yourself and have a great day. Try and talk later.